Hello and welcome back to another episode of After Class. Today's topic is one I've been wanting to revisit for a while because it's been coming up a lot on social media. So we're going to be talking all about ballet slippers. I know, it sounds like a simple topic. You need shoes, you go to the store, you buy shoes. But if you've ever walked into a dance store and been bombarded with questions you weren't prepared for, canvas or leather, split sole or full sole, what size, what width, you know that it is anything but simple. And if you've ever ordered online, gotten them in the mail, put them on, and thought, well, crap, that didn't work, this episode is for you. I've been dancing as an adult for several years now, and I've tried a lot of shoes. I've made mistakes. I've ordered the wrong size, the wrong width, the wrong color, and I've also found some absolute gems along the way. So today, I want to walk you through everything I wish someone had told me when I was starting out, and share some updated recommendations that I think you're really going to love. So let's start from the top. The first big decision when buying ballet slippers is material, canvas or leather. Leather was the traditional standard, especially for kids in training, and it's still used widely today. Leather is durable, it grips the floor well, and it gives you a lot of tactile feedback about foot placement. The downside is that it can feel stiff and less breathable, especially when you're dancing hard and your feet start to warm up. For me personally, my feet get way too sweaty for leather. Leather also makes it a little bit harder to articulate through the foot, meaning it can be harder to really feel your point in a leather shoe. Canvas, specifically stretch canvas, which is what most modern ballet slippers are made from, is my strong preference, and honestly, the preference of most adult dancers I've talked to. Stretch canvas hugs your foot like a second skin. It's breathable, it molds to the shape of your foot over time, and it makes it so much easier to articulate through your feet. The only real downside is that canvas shoes can wear out faster than leather if you're dancing multiple times a week, and they also tend to look dirty faster. But the good news is you can technically wash canvas shoes and air dry them. Some people don't like the way they feel after you wash them. I know that's me. I don't really like that it feels a little different once they've been through a wash cycle, but you can do it for most slippers. One thing worth knowing, if you're dancing on a non-marley floor, like a wood floor, leather can actually offer better grip. So if your studio has a slippery floor, that's definitely a point in leather's favor. But for most of us, canvas is the way to go. The second big decision is sole type, split sole or full sole. A full sole runs the entire length of the bottom of the shoe, from heel to toe, with no break. The resistance this creates is actually useful for beginners because it helps you build foot strength. When you have to work against the sole to point your foot, you're engaging the muscles a little bit more. Many teachers actually recommend full sole for students who are newer to ballet, specifically for this reason, especially if you're starting out as a kid. A split sole, on the other hand, has a suede pad under the ball of the foot and a separate pad under the heel, with nothing in between. The arch is completely free. This allows for a much fuller range of articulation, shows off the line of your foot really nicely, and is generally what more experienced dancers prefer. The downside is that there's less structure, which is why sometimes teachers feel it's too easy and can mask weak feet. My recommendation for most adult dancers is a split sole, but if you're brand new and your teacher recommends full sole while you're building strength, that's completely valid advice and definitely worth following. One tip, if you do go split sole, is to pay close attention to where the front pad sits on your foot. You want it to land right at the ball of your foot, behind where your toes begin. If it sits too far forward or doesn't extend far back enough, the ball of your foot will be kind of half on the pad, half off, and it won't feel comfortable, especially when you're doing things like releve. So don't just grab the first pair. Try them on, stand in them, walk around, do some releves, see how they feel on your foot. Thank you to Frenchies for sponsoring today's episode. Frenchies hairpins have been a staple in my ballet routine for years, so when they launched their new premium scrunchies, I knew I had to have one. And they went all out with materials, real silk and luxurious cotton velvet. I've been sleeping in my fluffy ballet pink silk scrunchie every night, and my hair has never been happier. The silk reduces friction, minimizes frizz, and prevents creasing while you sleep, which means less damage over time, and hair that looks and feels healthier when you wake up. For adult dancers who are constantly pulling their hair up, that kind of overnight recovery matters more than you might think. And of course, I have to mention the hairpins that started it all and remain my absolute go-to for ballet. Their unique velvet coating creates a no-slip grip that will hold your ballet bun or French twist in place through a full day in the studio, sweating, jumping, and turning. Plus, they're gentle on your scalp and come in color matching shades, so they literally disappear into your hair. So whether you want to upgrade your ballet bun or your bedtime routine, visit FrenchiesHairpins.com, the official brand for ballerinas who love a good hair moment. Use code AFTERCLASS10 for 10% off your order. Links are in the show notes. Okay, let's talk color, because this matters more than you might expect. Pink is the traditional standard for women and the most common. Most kids' programs require it, and many adult dancers wear pink as well. If you wear pink tights, a pink shoe keeps the leg line unbroken all the way through the foot, which is what you're always going for in ballet. But as adults, most of us have a little more flexibility. A lot of studios don't have a strict color requirement for their adult programs, which means you have options. You can go with the traditional ballet pink, or you can try a flesh toned or even black. My advice: think about what you wear most often to class. If you tend to wear black tights, a flesh tone or black shoe is going to give you a cleaner, more cohesive look. If you wear pink tights, stick with pink shoes. The goal is always to make the line and foot read as one continuous line. I actually have both a pink pair for pink tights and a sand flesh tone pair for everything else. Also, if you're ordering online, be really careful with flesh tones and skin match shades. Colors on a screen can look very different from what you actually receive. So when in doubt, go to a store first so you can see the color in person against your skin. The next topic is sizing, and sizing is where things get genuinely confusing, so I want to spend a minute here. Ballet slipper sizing is not the same as your street shoe size. In most brands, women size down anywhere from 1 to 2 sizes from their street shoe size. So if you're a size 7 in regular shoes, you might be a 5 or 5.5 in ballet slippers. And on top of that, every brand is different. You might be one size in So Dansa and a completely different size in Gaynor Minden. This is why, especially for your first pair or when you're trying a new brand, going into a store to get fitted is really the best move. I know online shopping is so convenient, but getting this wrong is frustrating and expensive. Beyond length, there's also width. Ballet slippers typically come in widths labeled A through D, A being the narrowest, D being the widest. Not all brands carry all widths, but it's something to pay attention to, especially if you have either very narrow or very wide feet. To figure out your width, measure across the widest part of your foot and reference the brand's size chart. And here's a practical tip. If you're going to order online, in addition to reading the brand's size chart really carefully, also check the reviews from people who mention their street shoe size and what they ended up ordering. And if you're sizing between sizes, start with the smaller one. Ballet slippers are meant to fit snugly. You should be able to see the shape of your foot through the shoe with no bunching or bagging at the toes, and they do tend to stretch out a little bit over time. Now, because I have narrow feet and all of my personal recommendations are naturally filtered through that lens, I want to provide some general recommendations based on foot shape. So I've done some digging into dancer feedback and reviews across foot types, and here's a breakdown to help guide you. So if you have narrow feet, you want a shoe with a snug, streamlined fit that doesn't leave extra fabric bunching at the sides. The So Dansa Bliss and the Capezio Hanami are consistently recommended by narrow-footed dancers. Both run on the narrower side and use stretch canvas that really hugs the foot. The Gaynor Minden Liberty is also a great option and actually recommends sizing down a half size for narrow feet. The Orza Pro 2.0 now comes in a narrow width, which is new to this version and a significant upgrade over the original. So if you tried the original 1.0 version of Orzas and they were too wide for you, consider trying them again in the narrow version. If you have wide feet, look for shoes that come in C or D width and have a more generous construction. The Capezio Hanami is actually a surprisingly good option here too, because it comes in narrow, medium, and wide widths, making it one of the most accommodating options on the market. The Block Performa also tends to run a bit wider and is frequently cited as a recommendation for dancers who find other brands too narrow. And as I mentioned, the Orza Pro 2.0 now also comes in a wide option, which reviewers with wider feet have responded really well to. Now for those of you with a high arch. Good news, a split sole is your best friend. The open arch of a split sole shoe actually allows your foot to articulate fully and really showcases your natural arch. The Capezio Hanami's patented diamond gusset in the arch is actually specifically designed to accommodate the arch without any bunching or stitched lines interfering with your point, which makes it a popular choice for dancers with higher arches. Now, if you have flat feet or low arches, this is worth thinking carefully about. A full sole shoe can actually be beneficial here because the resistance it provides encourages you to actively work your foot and engage those intrinsic muscles, which is something that flat-footed dancers especially benefit from. If you have short toes or a more square-shaped foot, many standard ballet slippers are built on a slightly tapered last, which can feel cramped if your toes are short and wide across the front. The Capezio Hanami and the Block Performa both have a more forgiving toe box, but wider width options in any brand will generally give you more room across the forefoot too. If you have long toes, the main challenge with long toes is that the pleating at the toe box can sit awkwardly or bunch, so look for shoes with flat, minimal pleating. The Capezio Hanami is specifically noted for its extremely flat pleats, and the So Dansa Bliss also pleats really well. Make sure you're not sizing down too aggressively though, as you need enough length in the vamp of the shoe to accommodate your toes lying flat so they don't start scrunching up in the shoe. If you have bunions, stretch canvas is going to be your best material because it gives where a stiffer leather just won't. The Capezio Hanami is frequently mentioned by dancers with bunions because the four-way stretch canvas accommodates the shape of the foot without creating pressure points. Ordering the wide width can also give you the extra room you need across the ball of the foot without sacrificing the fit elsewhere. So if you have bunions and they're painful and they feel like they're being squeezed by your current shoe, maybe try sizing up width. The bottom line is foot shape really matters when it comes to ballet slippers. And the best shoe is genuinely different for different people. If you've tried a shoe that everyone raves about and it just doesn't work for you, it's not you, it's your foot shape. Keep trying until you find your match. So now for my personal recommendations, the shoes I've personally worn and love. The So Dansa Bliss is one of my longtime favorites, and it's consistently one of the most loved ballet slippers in the adult dance community. It's a stretch canvas split sole slippers with a fully elasticized opening, giving it a really clean, streamlined look. What I especially love about it is how it fits narrow feet. If you have narrow feet like I do, you know the struggle. A lot of slippers have excess fabric on the sides and they just don't look great on your feet. But the So Dansa Bliss runs on the narrower side, which means it really wraps the foot without that extra baggy canvas. It's available in a great range of colors, including several flesh tones, and it's well priced for the quality. Women generally size down 1.5 to 2 sizes from their normal shoe size in this particular style. And now for the shoe that has completely changed my slipper game. Orza is a ballet shoe brand founded by former professional dancer Seth Orza, who, after dealing with personal injuries and plantar fasciitis, decided to build a shoe from the ground up that actually supports your body while you dance. A few years ago, I had tried the Orza 1.0 when it first launched, and it just didn't work for me. I wanted to love them, but they felt really stiff and the fit was baggy, and I ended up back in my regular slippers. Then a few months ago, I saw that they had a new 2.0 version that was popping up all over social media, and it had a lot of updates. So I reached out for details and was kindly gifted a pair of the Orza Pro 2.0s. No strings attached, no obligation to share anything. What makes these so different is the patented triple layer heel cushioning system that's made from the same shock-absorbing materials used in athletic sneakers. It also has a heel contour that stabilizes the foot and helps with balance. The split sole is suede leather, and the canvas is lighter weight than the 1.0, which addresses the stiffness issue I had before. There are also now narrow and wide width options, which the original did not have. So when I put the 2.0 on for the first time, I saw an immediate difference. My feet felt so supported, and that feeling really translates all the way up the leg for me. Jumping feels better, and my feet just don't hurt after class like they used to. I honestly don't wear any other slippers now. I have other pairs sitting in my bag, but I reach for the Orzas every single class. And like I said, I was under no obligation to post or leave any reviews. I just really am loving these slippers. They do run pretty true to street shoe size, which is different from most ballet slippers. So don't go off of your usual ballet slipper sizing. Start with your regular shoe size and consult their chart. Like I mentioned, they now come in narrow, medium, and wide, which is so helpful. So for reference, I wear a 6.5 in most street shoes and have a very narrow foot, as I mentioned. In the Orza 2.0, I wear a size 6.5 narrow. I will say that I can also comfortably wear a size 7. It really just depends on how snug you like your shoes to fit. I like my ballet shoes to feel like socks, but if you like a little more room, you may want to go up a half size. But when in doubt, just email them. The Orza team is super responsive and there to help. Before I wrap up, I want to say this one more time because I think it's really important, especially if you're newer to ballet. Try to get fitted in person for your first pair or whenever you're trying a new brand. I know it's so easy to just click and order, but ballet slipper sizing is genuinely confusing. Every brand is different, and the difference between a shoe that fits and one that doesn't is significant for how your foot looks, how it feels, and how well you can actually dance in them. Go in, tell them your preferences, try on a bunch of different styles, stand in them, releve in them, walk around. Then, once you know what style you like and what size you are, online is totally fine. The show notes for this episode will have links to everything I mentioned. If you've tried any of them or have a slipper you love that I didn't mention, I would genuinely love to hear from you. Come find me on Instagram at @thebusybunhead and tell me what you're wearing. All right, that's it for today. I hope this episode was helpful and I hope you have a great week of dancing. I'll see you next time after class. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a quick review. It really helps more adult dancers find the podcast. All the links and resources we mentioned today are waiting for you in the show notes. And if you want more adult ballet content in between episodes, come hang out with me on Instagram at @thebusybunhead. See you next week after class.